Government on Tuesday reporting more grim news on the state of the U.S. consumer. The poverty rate in America is now at 15%. It's its highest level since 1993. Meanwhile, average median income for Americans fell 2.3% last year to its lowest level since 1996. Our guest today, Gerald Celente, is a publisher of the Trends Journal. And Gerald, I don't have to tell you that things are tough out there for Americans. You've been saying this for a very long time. Do you see any signs that we're getting closer to the bottom, that things are going to get better, or they're going to get worse from here?
How are they going to get better? We heard the Federal Reserve say they're out of cards. They're looking to Congress to do it.
Right. So we have Obama's jobs plan.
Yeah.
He says it's going to help the economy, help create jobs in America.
Yeah, and he said this is half of what the other one was, and the other one didn't do it. So, you're ending up with zero, and that's even if it gets passed. No, things are going to get much worse. You're going to see a much greater rise in crime. You look at the data, by the way, and you see a rise in luxury sales,
Right.
And as the Walmarts of the world, they're losing ground all the time. What is it going to be? Let them eat Gucci? I mean, that's really what's happening over here. It's the same thing over in the UK. You just saw the riots late in the summer. They blame it on hooligans. You're seeing it in Greece, the people taking to the streets. You're going to see much more crime. And they come up with these, white shoe boy language terms. Flash mobs. What
Right.
flash mobs? It's a gang getting together to rip you off, And you're going to see more of that. Look at the education levels. Just keep putting it all together. Major cities, you're lucky half the kids graduate high school.
So there was only one other time in history that we've had inequality as high as we do in the United States right now, and that was right at the end of the 1920s. We had an incredibly horrific decade that we went through. Then we had a horrific war. Then we got into a period of good times, the 50s and 60s. So how do we get through it this time? Is it a repeat of the Great Depression? Is it mass violence? Is it a revolution? What happens to this society?
When you go back to the 1930s, and they don't teach you this in school, there were riots all over this country. I mean, the union protesters, and it was violent. And the war really brought us out of this. This is the 21st century. It's a whole different model. We're really going into new territory at every level. What will happen? Will they take us to war? Yes. How about that little gem they just started up in Libya? Wasn't that a beauty? Just like that. Nothing. We're at it. They'll keep opening up all these fronts. In the meantime, they keep using fear and hysteria. I mean, you guys are New Yorkers. You go down the subway, there's a guy all dressed up with this stuff. There's a terrorist. Blah, 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 blah. Come on, who are you kidding with this? You're stopping cars everywhere. I'm a New Yorker. This never happened before. So, yeah, they're going to take us to war, I believe, and I think other countries are going to do it, too.
So we already have what most people describe as a completely dysfunctional government in the United States. Lots of people basically advocating the political system, everything else. Does that break down? I mean, does our society break down at its core?
It is breaking down. It's breaking down at every level, socially, economically, and politically, and it's not just the United States. It's worldwide. We believe there's a solution, by the way. We're saying direct democracy. Let the people vote. If we could bank online, we could vote online. We don't have a representative form of government. This is not a democracy. The only people these cats represent are the people that give them a lot of dough. I mean, let's make this really straight. You call up Senator Schumer, see how far you get if your name is Joe Schmo. Send him a nice fat check. He'll be talking to you.
But we do have elections, and people, you're saying that they're rigged.
And we're getting a two-headed, one-party system. It's the same deal. So we're saying on issues of war, issues of education, issues of health care, major issues like they do in Switzerland, let the people vote. At least we'll get the future we deserve, and if we could bank online, we could vote online. This is, again, the 21st century. Because we got a bunch of losers in Washington. How could any adult believe these guys after a summer spectacle of that debt ceiling baloney? I mean, and then you see Obama's speech. I say, you watch these people getting up and down, clapping like trained seals. Who's going to put your mind and your support behind these people?
Right, but do you have confidence or faith that the American people would vote for the quote-unquote right solutions or the right people? Because Henry and I have talked about this a lot. Hitler was elected in a democratically election. So was Mussolini. I mean, maybe we're going to vote for someone who's going to take us further down the path of militarism and extremism.
Look at the militarism. We voted for Bush. How about 2 nice wars that we have? And then you see a guy like Cheney on there saying things like, we have to say that the world is better off without Saddam Hussein. Wait a minute, you said he had weapons of mass destruction and ties to Al-Qaeda. And boy, my life is so much better without Saddam Hussein. We just saw Obama take us to war again. No, let the people vote. We don't have people.
The people voted for both those.
No, but I'm
parties.
saying vote on issues.
Oh, on issues. Okay.
No, on major referendum on major issues. The issues that are the important issues, let us vote. War, education, health care.
So what about if it's a tough issue, like the fact that we have a massive budget deficit, we've got lots of expenditures that we have to cut, and we have to raise taxes? Nobody is going to vote for either of those things except conceptually. You put an actual budget in front of them and say cut spending, they won't do it. They'll never do it. They certainly will never raise their own taxes. Don't you need actually a strong leader to come in and say,
well,
you know what, I hate to say it, but this is what we got to do?
Yes, you need a strong leader, but you also need the facts putting out there. So let's say it's the budget issue. And let's say, do you want to cut the military expenditures by 30%? Yes or no? Or by 50%? Do you want to bring the troops home? Yes or no?